Do you guys know what used to happen with retailers and how it all used to work with getting the stuff into the retailers? Physical stores.
This is good to know. Yeah.
I mean, I was a sales rep. That was my first ever job for Polydor Records. They gave me an estate car, put a load of records in it, and went, see you later. And I used to drive around the West Country to I think I had about 35 stores, Sounds and Torquay, so you probably dealt with
them. They come into mind at some point.
Yeah. We used to go around the West Country, stocking up all these stores with records, and they used to take orders for pre-sales which are coming out in the future. So there used to be hundreds of sales reps all winging around the country to all these record stores, white van man with all the records on there with promos and all this sort of stuff. It's the best job I ever had. Seriously, the best job I ever had. Had a pager. Nobody used to be able to contact me on it because I was in the middle of nowhere, and I used to just go around doing whatever the fuck I wanted to. It was amazing. But that's how we used to get all the stock into the record shops. But how many reps are out on the road now? I think Universal have got 7 maybe.
How many physical distributors are left? That's
what's different is from a customer's perspective as well. I mean, like I said, I've been DJing for a long time. Buying those records, going into the shops when the van drivers would come in, that's when you'd go in, you'd know when the vans were turning up. So you'd be the first to get them, because they were only dropping 20-30 copies maximum at a store, unless it was they knew it was going to be a big track. They might take 3 or 4 boxes. So you had to get in there quick, because once it was gone, it was gone.
Yeah, I mean, the days the reps used to come in and the vans used to arrive and the new releases used to come in, it was carnage.
It's like a free-for-all.
Which was a level of excitement. People queuing up for the latest picture discs and vinyls and limited CDs and all this sort of thing. Not so much nowadays, because there's just not that demand for it anymore. So.
When I had a store as well, we used to sit in the store, and there was days where you'd phone certain distributors you were working with, and you build up a really good relationship with a sales rep on the end of the phone as well. Yeah. And we get a certain amount of promos, for
that's right, yeah. But the better you knew the sales rep,
because we knew we were going to buy a lot of that music as well, So we build those orders up via the promos, in the shop. So we give them to the DJs that we're going to, promote that music, and then hopefully that, those other DJs that are around would hook up. Where'd you get that track? Oh, I got it in, Revolution. They're going to get a load of them in next week. And they used to come, and that's how we built the orders up.
There's still some. I mean, obviously you've still got the Rough Trades, the Piccadillys, Resident, all these great little indie stores still left, who still have their customers coming in, and they know the customers. They know when Joe Bloggs comes in that if they play him on that record, he'll buy it. I mean, a high fidelity sort of thing. You've got John Cusack playing all the stuff because they know they're going to want to buy it. And they still do. They've got their niche market. I mean, Rough Trade emailed me this morning because they wanted 30 copies of the latest vinyl we're doing. And they'll sell them, and it'll be great for us because it'll be profile in the store, and it'll lead to more sales and all that sort of stuff.
So there's still a vinyl market. I mean, we don't press vinyl on every release we put out, but we do occasional vinyl releases. And I've got a friend in Paris, actually, a French guy called Jeremy Underground Paris. He's got a record label called My Love Is Underground, and basically he just came up with this idea a few years back to just do a label where basically he doesn't sell it into the shops. He basically sells it to a mailing list. So he's got a fan base on Facebook of, 5,000-6,000 people like his page, maybe a bit more than that now.
Vinyl lovers, yeah.
Vinyl lovers, yeah. And he only releases on vinyl. There's no digital formats whatsoever out there. And basically, when he's got a new track, he puts a little clip together, he puts it up on the Facebook page, and the first 2,000, 2,500 people that send him like a PayPal payment for the track get it. And that's it. And there's no more. There's no represses. And he's just doing it as I think he did it as like an experiment, really.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's selling 2,500 copies of every record he makes instantly.
Do you guys buy vinyl at all?
Do you know what vinyl?
Hands up who actually buys vinyl still.
What kind of stuff are you buying on vinyl though? What kind of genres are you buying?
I buy quite a lot of like old jungle and like garage and stuff.
So okay.
I like getting good quality down there.
Right, wicked.
And are you getting these from mail order stores or
Juno? Discogs quite a lot.
Discogs,
right? Yeah.
Use like real good records. I've been there a few times.
Is it all electronic stuff you'll buy, or is there anyone who buys kind of still indie rock, anything like that?
I see any like interesting stuff. Cause my mum used to work in an Oxfam shop, and they always used to get vinyl in.
Yeah.
So like I used to get a couple of weird little ones, like I got the Dark Orange soundtrack and that game.
Nice.
That's a good soundtrack.
That is a good soundtrack.
Well, I mean, back in, I don't know if anyone's seen the Moon film. Has anyone seen the film Moon?
I think yeah.
David Bowie's son did it. we did the soundtrack for that. Clint Mansell, who used to be in Pop Bullet itself, did the soundtrack. And we pressed it up in 2009 on really nice sort of lavish sort of vinyl with inserts and all this sort of stuff. And we're still selling it now. We're selling thousands and thousands of it. Because the film's been such a cult film, we're selling thousands of it. And we've got some really kind of Chess Club Records who did Mumford & Sons' first ever release, and National Anthem who did Hyam and Churches. They're still released. I mean, we're only talking like 500 runs, but they just come in, bang, go out the door again. So we're still doing loads and loads of vinyl, probably a couple of weeks. So.
And I think that's a nice thing. People like that as well. They like the fact that when you, I mean, like you're saying, you buy a lot of old hardcore, whatever, you know that a lot of those tracks, there was probably only ever 2,000 or 3,000 copies ever pressed. There's only 2,000 or 3,000 copies in the world, and you've got one of them, and that's something special.
Yeah,
and
I'm still a total mug for limited edition vinyl.
Same here. I mean, I'd pay a fortune for stuff on Discogs as well. Like
somebody puts a number on it, and I'm like, it's just ridiculous.
In fact, I've been watching a track on Discogs for the last 4 years that I've been trying to find since it came out in 1989, and I've been trying to find a copy ever since. I think there was only ever 1,000 copies. It's Robin Wants Revenge.
Oh, I've got that.
One keeps coming up on Discogs and they want €500 for it. I'm not going that mad. I'll give them a couple hundred, but that's about it.
Okay, chat. So I can keep my name Matt Vinyl for a little bit longer.
Just go old school, like Matt Analog or something like that. Matt
If any of the chaps, were going to take this on and put out a vinyl, how would they do it? How would they go about doing that? Are there still vinyl cutters out there?
Totally. We use, GZ and DMS we use for all of our vinyl because I don't know about you guys, but
as a manufacturer or as a cut.
We don't. Well, I know this sounds awful. We deal with WAV. It's all WAV files. There's no kind of lacquers or anything anymore. So we just send them the WAV files and they sort it all out.
So they do the cut there.
So in comparison to digital, say if you were going to put out 500 vinyls, it can cost you like 750 quid or something along those lines. In comparison to doing a digital release and spending more on marketing, what would you say? How does this weigh up?
Oh, it doesn't weigh up at all.
No.
I mean, to set up a digital release
But there's two sides to that though, because you're right. The digital release doesn't really cost anything to put out, but there's potential for you to sell those vinyl. There's a lot more potential for you to get rid of that vinyl than there is competing in the digital marketplace.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that.
It's kind of specialist, isn't it? It's everybody's doing digital.
Yeah.
Like you're saying with vinyl, you're just tapping into a market that still want to buy vinyl, and if you can find that market, then great, you're away. And like your chap there in France, he's obviously got something he knows that he can sell to a core market, which is great.
Well, this kind of goes back to the first question Matt was asking as well about how do you stand out, and like I said about the guy Jeremy, the way he's done it is he's got himself a little fan base, and it's he's not making a fortune, but he's got a fan base. He plays gigs all over the world, he DJs everywhere, the gigs he plays are packed, so he's found a way to stand out in that marketplace, even though his stuff doesn't even feature on Beatport because there's no digital copies around. So it's not only about the digital scene these days. I mean, even though it's predominantly that, there's still other ways to do it.
I think it's gone full circle, hasn't it? I mean, what you were talking about earlier about back in the day, if you released a vinyl because it was expensive, you stood out as a result of it. It's the same now. Because everyone's releasing digitally,
exactly.
If you do release a little kind of like saucy 7-inch or 12-inch or whatever like that, then you're going to get more notice because people are. I think people are taking.
Assume, don't they, that it must be good if someone's invested.
If somebody's invested money in this and time in this, and they've created this product, when all they could do was just release it digitally, then maybe it's worth a listen. Maybe it's worth checking out. So
definitely.
Even with CDs now, I mean, I can't remember the last time I bought a CD, but. I think even making a CD these days, people are thinking, bloody hell, they've actually made a CD.
Risky.
Yeah, what are they thinking of?
But it's finding a distributor as well. There's not very many distributors left that sell, vinyl. I don't know, is Topless still going in France?
Yes, they're still going.
Finding a distributor. I mean, when